Welcome to Transcription Trainer, where the goal is to help you learn to confidently transcribe your own solos. And I know that transcription can be intimidating, especially if you've never done it before or if you've struggled with it. But I feel that this process will help you along the way, even if you don't have a teacher. All of the solos that I've picked for Transcription Trainer have really solid rhythms, a great melodic style, and have great historical vocabulary that you could apply to your own solos. They're especially great for learning in all 12 keys. Transcription Trainer is different than a regular transcription because I give you the transcription in pieces. First, we go over the form, then the rhythms, and finally the notes. So you don't see everything all at once. You get to correct everything in order without seeing the rest. So as we go through this process, we're going to be listening, singing along, and writing things down. So grab your horn, grab some paper, pencil, and your listening device. First off, let's grab a blank page. You can use the one provided in the PDF, or you can grab a blank piece of paper just like this. I'm going to go with a blank page, and we're going to start by looking through the form of the song. Now, just like with artwork, imagine like a canvas. You pick your size of artwork before you make it. We want to outline the big picture of our solo before we start. So that means figuring out where it starts, where it ends, and how many measures there are. And then we're going to go into some other stuff after that. The solo I'm going to use for this explanation is Way Down Yonder in New Orleans, Take 1 by Lester Young off of the Alternative Lester album, which is my favorite of all time. Before we begin, I'm going to start writing in some measures on the page. I usually like to divide it 4 measures per line. And we're going to skip the first line because I save that in case there's a pickup measure or some stuff before the actual form starts. So I like to go in, divide it about halfway, and then I go half again. You draw in your treble clefs. And we'll draw in some more measures as we count through the solo. So why don't we start by listening to the song? I'm going to skip forward a little bit to the solo, just for time's sake. But the first thing we're going to listen for is when the solo starts. Okay, so it starts about 1:14. 1 minute and 14 seconds in. Okay, we're going to listen to the solo and see when it ends. It's about 1:49. There we go. All right, this time let's listen through and count the measures. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Phrase end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. New section. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, end. So we learned that there are 3 sections. There's a 12-bar section, an 8-bar section, and an 8-bar section. Now that might not be readily apparent for you on the first listening, so take as many times through to listen as you need. But let's write that in. So far we have 12 bars, 3 lines of 4. So I'm going to write a double bar here to end that first section. I'm going to call this one A. All right, let's add another 8. A double bar, call that section B. This third section is going to be C, and let's add another 8. A double bar. Now let's see if Lester came in early or if he ended late outside of this form. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, he starts right on beat 1. So we don't need to add any pickup measures. But if you needed to, you could add in your pickup measures here. And then I don't believe he goes over in the end as well. But let's skip. 1, 2. Yep, he's out before the end of that phrase. So this is our complete picture of the form. Let's start doing some bass notes now. Go ahead and grab your horn, and we're going to start doing some harmonic elements of the form, mainly the key, the bass notes, and the chords. So let's see if we can figure out the general key of this song. That kind of sounds like the root. Okay, so if you don't get the note on the first try, there's only 12 notes. So play through them all, sing it back, listen if you need to, until you can find that note. This sounds like it's in a B flat major key or concert A flat. It's helpful to know your major scales for this part. So we're in key of B flat. You could write in your key signature. I usually prefer not to, but I'll keep that in mind. Now we're going to listen to some bass notes, specifically beat 1 of each measure, and see what we can come up with. B flat. Just doing those first 12. Now I'll play them for you. Here we go. Now you can listen to that as many times as you need. Take an educated guess if it's a solo that you're not familiar with or if it's a different one than this. Do your best because we'll be able to check it later. In the key of B flat, 5, sounds like an F, B flat. Now I've played this enough that I have it memorized. So you can listen as many times as you need till you get it in here and then write it down. B flat, 1, 2, 5, 1, 5, 5, 1, 1. Cool. I didn't need to double up on that one, so I'll just erase that. Now, if you're wondering, where did that all come from? Well, I have a book called Jazz Numbers, and so you can check that out. It's on sale right now. And basically, we jazz musicians start to think in numbers, especially in harmony, but also in melody. And so if we're in the key of B flat, then I'm thinking 5, B flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 1, 5, 1. And over the years, you get to hear that more and more often. I play in a lot of different trad jazz groups that these harmonies are pretty common. And so once you start learning these solos, you're going to hear them more often and quicker in other solos. So don't get discouraged if you're not hearing anything. Just do your best, and you can check later and learn what you missed. So now that we have these written out, I'm going to play them along with the solo. The next thing that we're going to do is fill in all of the chord qualities. This also might be a little intimidating, especially if you don't play piano, you're not familiar with harmonies, but try it, do your best, and then fill it in, and then learn from there, fill in those gaps. So what I'm going to listen for is probably the functional harmony. I know from some music theory and some jazz classes, if it's a 5 chord, it's probably dominant. I'm going to be listening to 2 chords to see if they're dominant or minor 7. That's usually pretty common. But otherwise, we only have 1, 5, and 2 chords in this whole first section. So it's not too difficult. Now listening to that guitar, we've got a little bit of tension. I'm going to say that's an F7 chord. Usually in this earlier stuff, we're not getting alterations all too often. Yeah, it's a very common sound right there. It's not a B flat major 7. It's going to be more of some modern jazz stuff, so that probably tells me that's a B flat 6 chord. And Lester's actually emphasizing that 6 as well. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's a B flat 6. That's my guess. Okay, sounds the same right there. Back up a little bit. Okay, we've got a 2-5-1 here. I didn't hear a big 2, which is a dominant 2. It's got a very distinct sound. So I'm going to say this is a minor 7. To an F7, back to our B flat 6. Okay, Lester's doing something a little outside there, but the guitar's chunking along, chunk, chunk, chunk. Sounded just like a dominant chord to me. And then back to our B flat 6. So there we go. We've got our chords. Let's test them. I'm going to outline the chords. My favorite way to do this is 7th chords or 6th chords. We get 4 notes. And you can think about it as starting on the root, going up. 1, 3, 5, 6, or 1, 3, 5, 7. Or you can think 1 down, 3 up, 3 down, 5 up, 5 down, 7 up, 7 down. And that's the way that you can practice through these chords. I usually like the rhythm 1 and 2 and. So let me show you 1 up on these. And I'll explain that in just a second in a different way in case that was confusing. Here's 1 up. Okay, so that's 1 up. It's a great exercise by itself to learn tunes. Now what if we do 1 down? That means I start on the root and I go down. It gives us a first inversion from the top. It's probably not as quick to think first inversion, third inversion, second inversion, up, down. That's why I think, what chord tone am I on? Am I going up or down? So for example, the first part, if I did a 5 down, would sound like this. Like that. So 8 different ways that you can practice these harmonies, and you'll be learning a tune at the same time. Here's a tip. If you're new to this, set yourself a time limit of 10 minutes. Don't go any further than that. And try to play some other notes in that chord and see if you can find ones that sound good. So for that first measure, all of the notes of the B flat major scale would sound good. So I'm going to find a chord, every other note that uses those notes. Now it fits. So that's our F7 chord. Your 10 minutes are up, or you feel comfortable with where you're at. The first thing that you can do is check in with our form page. So instead of giving you the whole transcription at once, here is the form section to check. So let's see. In the B flat key, we've got F7, 2 bars, B flat 6, C minor 7, written slightly different, B flat. Looks correct to me. You can make any corrections that you need to at this point, play through it again, get comfortable memorizing those roots and those harmonies before you move on to the next step. The next thing we're going to do is learn the rhythms. I find that most musicians, they tend to progress more with their melodies than their rhythms. And so you might be struggling with playing solos that have good rhythms. This is a great place to get rhythmic vocabulary and to put that into your own playing. So let me show you what I do. I'll listen to it a bunch, I'll sing along, I'll get the rhythms ingrained in me, and hopefully at this point we've listened, 20 times or so on your own. But then what we'll do is we'll write the rhythms on top, and then we'll be able to fill those in later. So let's listen, jumping back. 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Bum, bum, ba. Bum, bum, ba. Those sound like they're right on the beats. If they're off beats, they'd come when my hand is up. Ba, da, da. All right, so I'm going to think that's 1, 2, 3. Now I write that by doing a quarter note. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm not quite sure where that third note ends, so let's listen again. He doesn't end quite on 4. It's like halfway after 4. So I'm going to write that with a little eighth note and an eighth rest. Now we have 4 beats in that measure. I usually don't write the time signature for space. Bum, 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 bum. Let's check that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Good. All right, let's find the next measure. One, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes I conduct when I count. Helps me keep track of the beats. But I was hearing da 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 ba da ba da ba da. Sound like straight eighth notes to me. Da ba da ba da ba da ba. Or rather, just solid eighth notes. So I'm going to write those in. Just right on top. There we go. So keep listening. Bum, bum, bum. 1 and 2 and 3. Do do da do da da. 2, 3. Do do da do da da. 2, 3. 1 and 2, 3 and do do da do da da. All right, so how do I write that? 1 and 2. I start on 3. 3 and that goes over a certain amount. Let's see when that note ends. Right, off on beat 2. So I'm going to write that quarter note. So then beat 2 is the rest. Call that articulating the rest. All right, here we go. This is the first 4 measures in rhythm. That's as far as we'll go for this explanation. 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and. All right, sounds right to me. The next step is that we're going to play these rhythms, get them really ingrained. I'm going to start by playing just the root key of the song. So B flat, playing those rhythms. Now, when I play these rhythms, I'm going to treat Lester as if we're in a big band, and I'm playing second tenor to him. I'm going to match the rhythmic nuance. Are the downbeats right on the downbeat? Are they slightly past? What's the swing amount? All of that good stuff. And I find headphones are really effective for that, and just looping over and over. But I'll do my best here. Do that one more time. Now, if you're on YouTube, you can slow this down with the settings if you need to. I try to keep it up to full speed as much as I can, but don't feel bad if you slow it down. There's a time and place for that too. 1, 2, 3. The next step is to play the melody rhythms, but use the notes from the roots of the chords that we're playing through. For example, I'm going to play an F over the first 2 bars, and then a B flat over the next 2 bars. 1, 2. Now, if you have any rhythms that are like on the and of 2 or the and of 4 going into a new chord, I would play the new chord's note. So if it was 1 and 2, 3, 4 and, I'd play the 4 and, use that and of the note of the next chord. In this case, we don't have any, but just keep that in mind. It's good practice. Let's try it one more time. Now you can also do the chord tones. Let's try one with some chord tone lines. I'm going to go from E flat to D, flat 7 to 3. All of that will help you solidify the melody rhythms into the harmony of the song. And if you need to, you can check the rhythms page. This will just add the rhythms onto the form. It won't tell us any notes yet. So let's go ahead and check. 1, 2, 3, and cool. Looks right to me. Now you probably complete this whole thing, or as much as you'd like before looking over to it, but just for time's sake. So far no corrections needed. We are going to set that aside. The next thing we have is to learn the notes, and we're going to fill in the notes for the rhythms. Now I think it's very important that we do the rhythms first and then the notes. That way you know how many notes there are and you can just change their pitches. Whereas if you start with the melody notes, it's really hard to write them down in a way that, what measure are they in? It's a little bit backwards. So rhythms and then melody. Let's listen, sing along and figure it out. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, sounds like it's in the second octave of the tenor. Let's see if we can find sing first. There it is. So it's an F. So if you don't get it at first, sing it, play through all the notes till you find it. There's only 12 notes. There we go. Now listen for the first note of this next phrase to help me get a jump start. Sounds like a third of some sort to me. There we go. From the F to the D, a minor third. Let's listen to the next phrase. Sounds like a scale. Now we're in the key of B flat. I'm going to try that scale first from the D. That sounds right to me. Now there's a little skip in there. So this might be flat. B flat, ba da 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 da. Now take as much time as you need to. Listen back, repeat it. Try not to do just one note at a time. Think of the whole phrase. But so far, this is what we have. Let's check if that's right. Sounds right to me. So I'm going to write that down. And when I do, I will erase the rhythms from above and fill them in with the notes. I'm gently erasing. You can still see them up above. And when you're done with your solo, you can redo this on some nice paper. All right. Using more or less slashes so they're more clear. I would do this from memory. So if you can play it on your horn, you have it memorized. You see I'm not going back and forth. I've played it enough times that I can do it from memory. And so that's what I'd recommend for you. Right as I missed the note, of course. See. All right, so 2 eighth notes, quarter note, eighth note, quarter, eighth. All right, there we go. Let's just double check to make sure we wrote it correctly. Looks right to me. Now, how do you know if you're right? What if you're struggling and you don't get all the notes? Do as much as you can. Leave the notes that you don't know blank, but at least you'll know that there is a note missing and you know the rhythm of the note that's missing. So when you go to check it on the notes page, we can see. Let's see. So yep, the skip is F to D. Good, we got it. Now, of course, I already know this solo, but that's just to demonstrate. You can make any corrections that you need. So Transcription Trainer is great because all of these stages are separated, so you can get corrections at each level, just as if you had a teacher next to you correcting you. If you had this whole thing just at once, like most transcriptions, it gives away all the secrets, right? You already look at it and you're like, oh, okay, well, I don't get to figure that out anymore. So Transcription Trainer will take you from the very beginning all the way to the end. It'll fill in the gaps of your own playing, and you can start to improve those different things as you go along. So that's as far as Transcription Trainer goes, but here's some things to keep working on for your transcription to improve. The first thing is learning all of the nuance of the playing. This is really where the practice begins. Play along with the solo 100 times with your headphones on. Listen for articulation, dynamics, different fingerings. Lester Young likes to use that side palm D on the low notes. Different stuff like that. And also, you can start to learn it in 12 keys. So let me demonstrate some of those for you. Try to play along with the solo. Let's see if we can do that. So there's the whole solo. Now this is one that I have learned in all 12 keys, and it's great for all 12 keys. In fact, most of these solos in Transcription Trainer are good for 12 keys. Let's put this first 4-bar phrase into all 12 keys. If you want to know how to do this, check out my book, Jazz Numbers, where we break down all of the numbers of scales and how jazz musicians think and how to transpose. It'll really help you. There we go, all 12 keys. A few I've got to work on, but that's the idea. We can start to put that language into our own playing, because as you analyze the solo, we've got the chords. This is a 5-to-1 progression. This is going to fit into a lot of different places. There you go. Good luck transcribing. Thank you again. I'm Derek from Sax Spy, and keep an eye out for all things Vinty and Minty.